Hey, we're getting there. Jensen, please.
There's a lot of people coming asking better and more sustainable infrastructure. There's a group of people that I've never met. It's better. It's nice.
Hello, my name is Jensen Alcock. I'm here on behalf of Mainland Canoe Polo, who are the regional body for canoe polo in the Upper South Island. Canoe polo is a fast-paced five-a-side game played on the water in kayaks, where two teams pass a ball around in an attempt to score it in a goal at either end of the court. Currently, we have two canoe polo courts in Christchurch at Rotorua, and at these two courts we run a schools league, a clubs league. We have a Premier League grade, all on a weekly basis through summer and spring. We also currently have 30 teams playing weekly and training on just these two courts, and that's not getting into individual players such as our several New Zealand representatives here in Christchurch. We pretty much really need to expand the court space we have. The two courts we've got at the moment are not nearly enough to cater for our current level of use and are very much limiting growth of any kind. At the moment, we have to cut game times shorter. We've had to cap team numbers in our local tournaments, and this is very much stunting the growth of the sport in the region because we can't cater for everyone who wants to play. We've also do not have the capacities to host major tournaments. Pretty much all of the major national tournament finals are hosted in the North Island, either in Palmerston North or the Hawke's Bay. Just last year in December, we had to give up our allocated hosting of the interregional tournaments due to a lack of court space, and that was instead hosted in Palmerston North. We also lack facilities such as changing rooms, so currently all of our players, male and female, are changing on the side of the access road to the lake there, which is not only cold but lacks privacy quite a lot. We also have insufficient kayak storage, meaning that it can be very difficult for people to get their kayaks to the lake at the moment, especially for new players who might not have roof racks or trailers and such. We aren't asking for a massive amount of money, but we do need enough space to let our sport flourish. It has been outlined in Rotorua management and development plan that to meet current demand, 2 more courts should be implemented, and we're here to urge that that does happen and that money is allocated for these developments. We have looked at the long-term plan, and in my submission, we've noted that there are millions of dollars allocated for sports and sports field development across Christchurch, and we're advocating for more equitable distribution. We want to ensure that sports like canoe polo, who are currently lacking resources, are not overlooked in favour of more established sports. Our mainland canoe polo numbers at the moment, some of our clubs have over 150 members, which is no small amount, and like I said, 30 teams playing every week on only 2 courts is very difficult. It seems reasonable to us that we provide more facilities for sports that don't have the required facilities before we upgrade the facilities of sports that are already managing. Thank you very much.
Question from me. Kelly had a question, so I'm just looking at the overhead view of it. If you wanted to extend it at Sawyer's Road, which way would you go?
Yes, so the current plan, I did have a photo, but I didn't realise we had to send them in beforehand,
That's right.
is towards the road. So there's currently an access road planned that would cut out the canoe polo lakes that our access road wouldn't need to be there. And so the 2 courts would be next to the 2 existing courts towards that roadside, which wouldn't need to exist anymore.
Yep, okay. So, Kelly?
If Palmerston North is getting the Nationals over us, there must be something wrong. Do you have any access to indoor pools? Like back in the day, it used to be QE2, and it was always been the diving pool. What's the story there?
Yeah, so access to indoor pools is very limited. We can host occasional leagues for young kids at Jelly Park, but it's really difficult getting pool space, as well as very, very expensive for the clubs, because the pools, obviously you have to hire out the entire pool, and some of the pool facilities don't like when more senior players play indoors, especially in small enclosed areas, because of the risk of damage from the balls. So yeah, Palmerston North has 4 outdoor courts for tournaments and 3 that are there permanently, and the Hawke's Bay has a purpose-built facility with 4 courts and grandstands.
Yeah, so QE2 has nets
Wait,
up, and
wait,
they have
wait.
volleyball, they have water polo, don't they? You know?
And would Tyrone like to have a
Back me up
question?
here, someone.
Okay, thank you. That's very interesting. Do you play in the sea?
I believe there
In the
has
winter?
been some canoe polo played out at Littleton currently and in the past, but there are no permanent setup.
But is that
Facilities.
feasible?
It is feasible in the summertime.
Right.
It is a bit less feasible in the winter, and also a bit less central for.
Yanni?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Are you aware of the Draft Sports Network plan? And do you think that there's a need, hearing what you're saying, for council to adopt some sort of water sports strategy or planning framework?
I wouldn't have as much knowledge as potentially I need to answer that question, but about other water sports. But yes, potentially that is something that needs to get looked into as to what sports are getting funding.
Brilliant, thank you. And lastly, Sarah, on this topic.
Thanks. I remember a few submissions along the same line in the annual plan last year. And I'm just wondering if there were any conversations had after the annual plan with council staff and how they went.
So I'm not overly sure. In the committee, we did talk about it after the annual plan. It's great that it's we have had these courts outlined in Rotorua-Hatu's management development plans, but the current thought process is that it's without the necessary funding that might take years and years and years to happen.
Thank you. Have you done any costings on what it might look like to get another court?
I don't have exact figures, sorry.
The only thing that I'd be a wee bit concerned about, because the big high part down there is the old Waimari dump. So you'd have to be careful that I don't know what those 2 fingers are, sort of beside where your pond is, lake, sorry. So to see what if it could be widened out either side. So
Yeah.
okay, but thank you very much for coming in. That's absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Can we ask Rec Sport to liaise with
Certainly.
them to look at indoor pool usage, and just at least in winter, somewhere in town? I think she's noting it.
It's all over.
Well, something that's going to be finished soon.
Yeah, they used to do it at QE2 diving pool. as
Yeah, no, it was fantastic there.
well. Yeah, thank you. Chris, please.
Can I just check process-wise? Because people do have the individual odd comment that comes back this way. Are we supposed to do that now, or do we wait for the responses that are being written, or do we send them through as individual responses, individual questions on the hub, on that portal, the question portal?
Both.
I think if you've got questions that you want detailed advice on,
Yeah,
you should be putting it through the question tool.
yeah. So if people have got questions, rather than us all.
But I capture the ones that you say here, and send an email at the end of every day or the next day telling you which ones we put in for you.
Okay, thanks.
Wonderful. Sorry, Chris, you're the last one.